All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. In the headlines, we have another earthquake in Fukushima, and of course, it'll remind a lot of people of the March 11th, 2011 quake that caused the nuclear disaster at Reactor 4, just like with Chernobyl in '86, it was Reactor 4. And I want you to see what stands out about this happening March 16th, or 16/3 as they write it in the majority of the world. Notice how in Gematria, earthquake equals 163. And at first it was reported as a 7.4, then they downgraded it to a 7.3. We'll talk about that. But remember, 163 is the 38th prime number. And Poseidon, the ruler of the seas, responsible for the storms of the seas, Poseidon equals 38. And Poseidon really fits in here because when both the Fukushima disaster of 2011 and this one happened, they both fell in the time of Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, and the planet Neptune represents the ancient god Poseidon. So we're in the time of Poseidon when both of these storms from the sea impact the land. Last time it was a major nuclear scare. This time in Japan, they're saying this earthquake knocked several power grids offline, which caused power prices to surge in Japan in the aftermath. And keep in mind, we talked about this. How many different things will they throw at the world? How many different monkey wrenches will be thrown to boost energy costs? From COVID to, Russia, Ukraine, to now a natural disaster, so they're telling us. But is this really a natural disaster? I don't think so. I think that's what Jesse Ventura talked about on his show 10 or so years ago, about how back when he was a Navy SEAL, they used to plant bombs around fault lines and oceans, and sometimes when you hear about an earthquake, it's actually not natural. And most people think Jesse Ventura is a kook, even though he was the governor of Minnesota. But I'm pretty sure he told us the truth when that happened, because there's just so many coincidental earthquakes. Probably the biggest one in the last 10 years was the Mexico City quake on the 32-year anniversary of the mega Mexico City quake. And again, the 32-year anniversary in Gematria, bomb equals 32. But if you're new here, Gematria is very simple. It's the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. If you just use the most simple cipher, Poseidon's also 97, and so is tsunami. They said this caused a small tsunami, not as big as the one on March 11th, 2011. But again, the perfect time of the year. And as for it first being reported as a 7.4, remember in Gematria, energy, nuclear, weapon, Trinity, Okuma, they all equal 74. Fukushima is the area of Okuma. We just talked about this. We just reviewed the Fukushima earthquake of February or March 11th, 2011 at the end of February. And but again, at first they reported a 7.4 with alphabetic order energy 74, with alphabetic order and rules numerology energies 38. And again, it's 16/3, like 163, the 38th prime. And this earthquake caused energy prices to surge. Isn't it just too perfect? Of course it is, because it's all part of an agenda. There's nothing natural about what happened. Again, you don't even need to speculate. It's just so obvious that this is what they're doing. Keep in mind, in Gematria, power outage and natural disaster equal 56. They're saying power was knocked out for a lot of people in Japan yesterday because of the quake. And, of course, so much of the nuclear experimentation once went on around those exact areas. If you don't know where the term bikini came from, look up the Bikini Islands. That's where all the nuclear testing was going on, and they said the only thing hotter than a nuclear bomb was a woman in a bikini. If you didn't know that, that's where the term bikini came from. It was a new, form of beachwear for the ladies at the same time nuclear testing started. And reportedly, that's exactly where the term came from. What's hotter than a nuclear bomb? A lady in a little skimpy outfit. But okay, what a day for the earthquake. We talked about this a little bit last night on TFR as the news was breaking. But what we didn't know last night was the energy costs soared because of it. But it makes so much sense. That's the big agenda right now. And just to quickly review Fukushima, again, March 11th, 2011, Okuma, the area mostly impacted, 74 like nuclear energy weapon. They're all 74. And the prime minister at the time, from his birthday to the earthquake was 152 days later. I should have done this time with the prime minister. It's probably similar. But Fukushima Daiichi, the plant's 152. That's the plant that got impacted 152 days after his birthday. Radiation was the scare. Radiation's 152. And there's a lot of things that are interesting here, but if you want to go back and watch my longer decode on this, you can. The total name of the area, Okuma, Fukushima, Japan, 68, like nuclear energy, like nuclear weapon, like how on the 68th day of 43, the first nuclear energy development site went underway, like how Chernobyl just had the big 68 ritual with it, like how Japan was bombed on August 6th, which was written 6-8 in a lot of the world. Everything that went down in 1968, as we've talked about so many times. But yeah, it's just all by the numbers throughout history. And I suppose we can compare here. Who is the Prime Minister of Japan right now? I don't even know. Prime Minister of Japan. Let's see. Fumio Kishida. He's born on International Tiger Day. Here we are in the year of the tiger. July 29th, International Tiger Day. Let's see. July 29th to yesterday. Let's see. March 16th, 2022. So it was 230 days after his birthday, which is also his 231st day of his age, or 33 weeks on the nose. Remember, it is the Jesuits behind all this crap. And Ignatius of Loyola's 231. And the 33 weeks. As soon as I end this live stream, I'm going to think about exactly where 33 fits in perfectly with the ritual. But again, 33 is the signature number of the Cabal, the Jesuits and the Masons. Ignatius of Loyola, 231, the founder of the Jesuits. With regards to the Jesuits, their biggest ritual number is 201. Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, 201. It happened on March 11th. 311 as it can be written. 201 is 311 in base 8 counting. And again, the Jesuit order is 201. Ignatius of Loyola is 201 forwards, 231 in reverse. So let's see what this guy got famous for. The prime minister who was in when it happened last time, he got famous for supposedly being the honest one to explain how HIV it got spread in Japan through blood transfusions. We covered that when we reviewed it in February. This guy's been in politics since 93. He's been in office since October 4th, 2021. Here, let's just measure also from that day. So 231st day of his age it happened. And from see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. From the day he took office, October 4th, 2021, to the March 16th accident is exactly 163 days later. Oh, man. Just the coincidences abound, right? And we're just saying on 16/3 when earthquake's 163. Good thing we looked. And I mean, that's how it always is. I mean, honestly, I know all the years I've been doing this, has there ever been a time where I'm like, here, let's look into something in real time and just been like dumbfounded, like, oh, we can't figure out anything. Normally just like find 5 more gems in 5 minutes. And I'm sure if we keep looking, we're going to find even more. But honestly, I mean, there's nothing left to say. Nothing natural about the natural disaster that jacked up energy costs on the back of an agenda that's driving up energy costs all over the world based on all sorts of, contrived things. Contrived military, conflicts, just everything. Contrived pandemics. It's just 163 days after the guy takes office. Perfect. Here, let me zoom it in case it's too small. So we got the Jesuit fingerprints and the earthquake fingerprints. I mean, I will. The trolls are all over it as always, but isn't it amazing that I just have a pack of trolls that hang out on my Patreon page all day? It's just amazing. But I did get that PDF posted. Hey, it's on 33 likes. But the PDF is up. It's a PDF, so as long as you have a PDF reader on your thing, you should be able to look at it. And PDF readers are free to download if you don't have one. But I guess just to show you the document, just for people who plan on pound and pavement, Oklahoma City, April 19th, or anywhere else. Again, this just has some great talking points here that, again, if you don't have the stuff memorized, after you share this with a few people, you'll probably have it memorized. But I'll just read out what I wrote real quick. I try to get everything to fit on one page. There's so much more that could have been said, but we were talking about the 201 Jesuit Code. Oklahoma City, April 19th, 1995 is the date in history the Oklahoma City bombing occurred, an attack blamed on former U.S. military member Timothy McVeigh along with his accomplice Terry Lynn Nichols. And what makes this date important is that the Jesuit order, the powerful military order that operates on behalf of the Roman Catholic Church, created its first superior general on this day in history, Ignatius of Loyola, April 19th, 1541. And what makes this beyond coincidence is when you know how the Jesuits' Kabbalah-based code, Gematria. Or I read that wrong. And what makes this beyond coincidence is when you know the Jesuits' Kabbalah-based code, Gematria. In this language of Gematria, numbers become words based on the alphabetic order. And through this code, you can see the ritual. The Jesuit order equals 201. Again, they're a military order. A military personnel file is a 201 file. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201, Timothy McVeigh equals 201, Terry Lynn Nichols equals 201, Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201. The last name on the list, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, is the birth name of Pope Francis, the first publicly Jesuit pope and the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Keep in mind his name is Francis, and the Jesuits were created in Paris, France, not to mention the last French pope was the 201st. As for Timothy McVeigh, he was sentenced to death on June 13, 1997. This matters because it is the day leaving 201 days in the year. It is also the date in history the Office of War Information was established, June 13, 1942. And if you're not aware, it is a department dedicated to military propaganda, which is what the patsies Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols equated to. The reason this is important to know is because Oklahoma City is not unique. Instead, it is one of many events in history perpetrated against humanity to create needless conflict that benefits the governments and financial institutions the Jesuits control, which includes the U.S. federal government. Keep in mind, at the time of the Oklahoma City bombing, both the governor of the state and the president of the United States were Georgetown grads, having both attended the nation's first Jesuit university located in Washington, D.C. Since then, we've seen the two towers fall. Since then, we've seen two towers fall, becoming zero before one World Trade Center. We've also seen Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, on the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China, games credited to the Jesuits of Italy, thus why they began there in 1995, a stat that pairs with the Jesuits originally being formed to counter the 95 Theses. And remember, Oklahoma City happened in 95. Also known as the Protestant Reformation. And it is why we're now witnessing what we are playing out in Ukraine, where the first military attack was reportedly in the Donbass region, which equals 201. It goes along with why Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin met to discuss Ukraine on December 7th, 2021, Pearl Harbor Day, exactly 201 days after the first there's a typo. First ever Ignatian year began. I'll fix that. I'll fix the typo. My bad. The first ever Ignatian year began, something declared by the Jesuits on May 20th, 2021, the 500-year anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola being shot by a cannonball. This same 201 riddle explains why Beau Biden died at age 46, 201 days before Pope Francis' birthday, and the Jesuit priest who conducted his funeral also did... Oops, I got multiple typos in here. I will fix all the typos. Also did the inauguration for Joe Biden, becoming the 46th president in an election precisely 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, which should remind you that the only Catholic president was JFK, killed at age 46. The only other Catholic president was JFK. As for the Jesuit priest, his name is Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, and he was once the president of Georgetown. Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan equals 201. Order of Illuminati equals 201. Established by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, May 1st, 1776. Same year America was established. Of course, this subject doesn't end there, and as you'll see when you know the code, the Jesuit riddles are endless, building by the day. Just understand this country has been hijacked, and they must be stopped. And again, that's exactly what it is. And you know, the Act of 1871, when Washington, D.C. became a city-state, the name of that act equals 201. I actually wanted to fit that on here, but the way I had it written, if I wrote any more, it was going to go onto another page. So, okay, I'll fix the couple typos, so don't print it out yet. But you can still, if you're trying to get your lines down, I mean, you can still study this document. But I will update it with the typos fixed. Working on with a little bit too much haste there. Had to hit a bunch of deadlines. By the way, congrats to Sweet Lady. Sweet Lady finished school today, so now she's just got to study up for her exams. But it's a glorious day for Sweet Lady over here. So anyway, Truth Seeker, we'll leave it there for now. And if you do want to download the PDF with the typos, you're more than welcome to. But I will update it, so I'll do that soon as well. All right, thank you for everyone for tuning in, and be sure to hit the like if you can. Again, the more likes the video has, the more likely it is to show up in a stranger's feed. It's very hard with all the censorship, but it gives it a fighting chance. And thank you to everyone who shares it on their platforms. Much appreciated. And until next time, Truth Seeker.